Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today I am talking with the talented, funny, and witty musical comedy duo Griefcat. Thank you so much for being on my show. I'm so excited to be talking with you.
Hi, we're so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
So let's get started. Where do you find inspiration for your songs?
That's an Annie question.
Oh, just about everywhere. I mean, our songs kind of cover a whole bunch of topics. Sometimes it's the news, sometimes it's what's going on at work, sometimes it's um bowel movements. It can be really anything.
The world is our oyster,
The
you
world
know?
is our oyster.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, is there a song of yours that is your favorite?
Oof. I think I will say my favorite song to sing is Crypto Bro. That is one that's on our most recent album, Late Stage Capitalism. And it's one where historically I haven't really been able to belt as much with Grief Cat. And with that one, I can really fulfill my like pop star fantasies.
Yeah.
So I really love to sing that one. What about you?
I really love to listen to Carbon Footprint, which is also on our most recent album. It kind of has like a punk rock kind of feel, which is not how we present on stage, but it's really fun that that's how it came out in the studio.
Yeah.
It's like a Blink 182 kind of Sex Pistols kind of vibe.
Speak for yourself. I think I present punk rock
Oh yeah,
personally.
sure.
Nothing says punk rock like these like little dangles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Um, yes, I think though the jackets are very punk rock. So
Thank you.
Thank
yeah.
Do some damage with these rhinestones. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Um, so who are your musical inspirations?
So many musical inspirations. I think for me, lyrically, I would say Flight of the Conchords and Ben Folds were always really big lyrical inspirations for me. I'd like to say the Decemberists, but I haven't broken into that type of writing yet. Um, and then musically, I mean, just all over the place. So like Ella Fitzgerald for her vocals, but then also like Electric Light Orchestra, or I mean Chapel Roan, like
Yeah.
everyone. So lots and lots on my side. What about you?
I really love pop music. I listen to a lot of top 40, but I'm just really inspired by how pop musicians present themselves on stage. I've been watching a lot of videos of Sabrina Carpenter, and I love her stage presence. She's just so effortless and confident, and I want a piece of that. But I love, Lady Gaga. I
Oh
love
yeah.
Chapel Roan. I love Ariana Grande, just these powerhouse divas that just have so much confidence, and their songs are serious, but they're also kind of silly. They take their music very seriously, even when they're singing very, kind of surface level songs. They sell them, and I think that's
Yeah.
something Greek that tries to do too, where we're singing very silly songs, but we're singing them in a way that is very serious. We take the music very seriously.
Very.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So who are your comedic inspirations?
I mean, Flight of the Conchords. It's an older reference, but one that I love. I'd say Bo Burnham and maybe Pete Holmes. I think are some big ones for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that they are yeah, so funny.
Yeah, big Petey Pants fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. So, who has had the biggest impact on the person you have become?
That's a beautiful question.
That's a great question.
I mean, I think this might be a cop out, but as far as the musician I am today, I'd say that Annie is one of my like biggest influences and somebody who's really shaped me as a person. She's really helped me to become more confident in myself and to listen to myself more and to apologize for my existence less. And I would say that that's a gift that I've gotten from this incredible person right here. Top that.
Well, gonna say, I'm gonna say Lisa. She's definitely the longest relationship. You know, it's a really interesting relationship because you're friends, but you're also creative partners, but you're also business partners. So there's a lot of layers to it. And it's been really fun and exciting to sort of balance all of those different facets with Louisa, who's just, I mean, anyone's gonna tell you that she's like the best person that they know. She's definitely, you know, a band it can only get so far with just songs. She's definitely the business whiz. She's more communicative. She's really sweet and nice. She makes everybody feel like $1 million, and
Mm,
it's really nice to be in a band with her.
I love you.
I love you.
The other thing I think that's really kind of fun about that, like band and partnership, and this is getting away from your original question, but we are very different people in a lot of ways, like in the way that we process information, the way that we communicate, the way that we interact with the world. Like we're very different. But at the same time, we're really kind of brought together by similar values and our shared love of music and Griefcat, and humanity. And that
Yeah.
really has created a really rewarding relationship and like a really rewarding partnership.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the biggest challenge in creating content for your social media?
Um, I think time.
That was going to be my answer.
Um, I I do have like a lot of part-time jobs, and I'm not in front of my phone or my computer for like long periods of time a lot of time. So it's hard to find a chunk of time that's just I can focus on this video. And it takes a long time to like put together captions and find clips and sync up songs and all these things. Like I don't know how really, really big content creators, you know, do it. I feel like we're still figuring things out, but uh it's pretty tough. But it's also very rewarding and very fun to be able to make content that connects with people all over. I mean, genuinely all over the world. It's really nice. I mean, you know that feeling too. It's really rewarding. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, do you ever feel pressured to create?
Yes. Always. That might also just be my like internal drive where I always feel like I need to do more, 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 more. So like we do, and going back to what Annie said about time, so like Annie has a lot of part-time jobs. I have, you know, a pretty demanding full-time job outside of Griefcat. And then even just finding the time for us to get together, to write, to create, to practice, to film, can be like a challenge a lot of times. So yeah, it's challenging.
It is challenging. It's so much fun, but it's so multifaceted. Being a musician is so much more than just being a musician these days.
Everything.
It's truly like just all over the place, and it can be hard to juggle, and it can also be really fun to
Yeah.
try on different hats and learn different skills.
It is very gratifying, but it's a lot because that the music and the content is like 20%, if that. So it's yeah, it's worthwhile and we love it and we're not going to stop, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Um, So, what small things bring you joy on a daily basis?
My coffee.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, coffee. And I think for me too, I love interacting with people on social media. So we get a lot of DMs, a lot of people sharing our content. And so I'm actually talking with fans and new fans like every day, or people we've even built friendships with that kind of started off as people who saw us online. So I think that's something that really brings a lot of joy for me. And then also just like connecting with, family and friends. I'm a hyper connected person.
My cats.
Yeah, that's right, because you have two now.
No, obviously, but little things that bring me joy. I made really good brownies today. I
Ooh,
brought some for you. They're on your coffee
I'm
table.
so excited.
They're Nutella.
Oh.
Um, I I don't know. I love to learn new things. I love accomplishing tasks that brings me a little bit of joy. And
I like having about 800 unfinished tasks. That brings me joy
Yeah.
all the
and uh I love Griefcat. That brings me joy.
I forgot another thing that brings me joy that's
Yeah.
non-grief related, although it was introduced to me by Annie. I love reading. I am obsessed with like the romantasy genre. So like, yeah, romantic fantasy fiction is my jam these days. Like it's a problem. It's not just a jam. It's a problem. So
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
These are the best questions.
we've ever gotten,
Yeah.
hands down.
A warning label. Oh gosh.
Mine would be like caution, highly excitable. Uh,
Um, a warning label for Griefcat or a warning label for us as individuals?
highly
Yeah,
excitable.
for you as individuals.
Um, has tummy problems.
May explode under pressure.
Um, I'll say a really vulnerable one. When I get really anxious, I like to sit in the bathroom and run the shower without going in the shower sometimes. My husband and I call it my water times. So I would say must come with access to plumbing.
Yeah. I mean, most humans need access
Most
to
most
plumbing,
humans do need access to plumbing.
Yeah.
or would prefer it at least.
If we are in a drought, I do take it upon myself not to waste so much water,
Yeah.
but
What a
a really
hero.
good bath is just so calming.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what is the biggest obstacle you have overcome?
I think from like a band perspective, I think the biggest obstacle we've overcome is just learning how to work together. Especially I think through COVID and through kind of everything that's been happening, over the last 5 years that we've been a band, and we've really had to learn to communicate and work together. And it was challenging, but it's really worked out well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
I
we have
love
one mind, clearly. We're actually the same
Yeah.
now.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think other obstacle we've had to overcome is, being on the internet means that,
Oh
you
yeah.
make a lot of friends, but you also open yourself up to a lot of negative commentary, and it's been an obstacle to it's been a challenge to overcome, you know, taking our critics too seriously or letting negative comments impact us. But I think, the more we grow and put ourselves out there, the less impact other people's opinions have on us. And I think that goes for positive or negative opinions. Like we're just kind of doing our thing, and it's really great that people love it. And when people hate it, it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not for you.
Yeah,
That's
which is
fine.
Yeah.
fine, not
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like huge credit to Annie because she kind of came up with the idea of how we would handle a lot of like the negative comments when they first started coming in. They came in really hot. There were quite a lot of people just really saying how like ugly and fat we are constantly, and it was multiple a day. We still get them, but like we know how to handle it now. So which is either like we just don't care or we respond in a way that's like funny. Like maybe we'll just agree with somebody. We're not going to get into a fight with anyone on the internet because it's not worth our time. But we handle it in a way that we're comfortable and we can kind of laugh at it. And one thing Annie said the other day that I really love is, these are people that are saying negative things to us. These aren't people we would ask for advice from. So why would we take their criticism? Why would we accept
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to remember. I always have to remind myself of that.
It's tough
Yeah.
sometimes, but yeah, you kind of have to steel yourself,
Yeah.
let the good things in, but don't let the bad things in. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm very sorry you guys were getting those comments. It's
yeah.
not fun. You guys are beautiful, so
Right
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Happens, and that's unfortunately part of being a person on the internet these days.
Yeah.
But
I remember reading, the Barbie movie. Do you remember the Barbie movie last year?
Yeah.
I
My
remember
favorite
reading
movie.
people. What was that?
mhm,
It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, it's so
so
good.
good.
I just
Yeah.
rewatched it on the airplane earlier this week. But I was reading comments on Reddit, and people were like criticizing Margot Robbie, who's like one of the most beautiful people in the
Yeah.
world. And it was like, if Margot Robbie can't escape negative comments from trolls on the internet, there's not really any hope for any of us. So
Yeah.
you kind of gotta just let it pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that yeah, that way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so is it a challenge to combine comedy and music?
I would say it's natural for us. A lot of people feel like writing comedy music is harder, but I find writing non-comedic songs much harder than writing comedic songs. I also would not know how to start if anybody wanted me to do a stand-up routine. I'd just die.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by musicians who can get super vulnerable. I'm very impressed by stand-up comedians who can do an hour-long set without like blinking an eye. We steal from both of those worlds, but those worlds are very much foreign to us. It's just for some
Yeah.
reason easier to combine both of those for us and make musical comedy. And it comes really naturally.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're natural talents.
We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so do you have a specific songwriting process or any rituals you do before writing a song?
I think we're all over the place as far as how we write songs. We do have a ritual for like when we're together. So when we're writing together in like a joint session or rehearsal, what we'll typically do is that one of us will kind of like start strumming, or we'll kind of start playing like a chord pattern. And then we'll just kind of start singing over it and harmonizing. And then what I'll typically do is I just keep a like the voice memos app on my iPhone. I just keep it running. And so I can capture all the ideas, because we have these ideas. And if I don't capture them in the moment, they're just gone. We won't remember the words. We won't remember what we did. So that's how we do it when we're together. Annie does a little bit more solo writing than I do, so I don't know if you want to add more to that.
Yeah, I think anytime I get the chance to shut off my brain and just do so, for example, like if I'm driving in the car for a long period of time, not that I'm totally shutting off my brain, I'm a safe driver, I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
Um, but if I'm in the car for a really long time, it's a lot easier for me to then think about a song or work through a song idea and just sort of repeat it over and over again and sort of flesh things out that way. Or if I'm on a walk, I can, kind of get in the zone and do it that way. It's hard, you know, when I'm doing a million other things, but I find when I have those moments of I'm just doing a single activity and my brain can kind of focus on songwriting, I find that to be a really, um, those to be really conducive spaces for that sort of thing. It is, I find it really hard actually to like just kind of sit down with the guitar and be like, I'm gonna do songwriting today. I
Mhm.
think in when inspiration strikes, it strikes, and it's pretty hard to force it. Um, yeah.
I also really like editing songs. So I like it when a lot of times Annie will come and she'll have like an idea, and then she'll bring that idea, and then we'll kind of like add harmonies, or we'll start kind of like bouncing around, or like kind of like morphing and changing some areas. And that's always really gratifying too.
Oh,
Because it's
I
hard to
love
come up
that.
with material. It's easier to carve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, and so I am pop culture obsessed, and I go in stages of shows that I cannot stop watching. Is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
I mean, Great British Bake Off is
Yeah.
my ultimate comfort. So that and Drag Race are probably my top two.
Um, I'm kind of chronically online. I feel like I don't go down like one TV show rabbit holes super often. My husband and I are watching Detroiters, which is just a fun Tim Robinson show. But I don't know. My pop culture uh, consumption usually comes through TikTok or Instagram or Reddit or
Yeah.
any of the. That's my. I like the small screen as opposed to the medium screen
Yeah.
or the big screen.
The tiny.
I like the tiny screen.
Oh, and I will say another show that I've been watching for comfort this week is Taskmaster, which is like a British show. I don't know if you've seen that one before.
You haven't.
It is just delightful. It's basically there's like a few like British comedians and celebrities that are on it, and they are assigned to just do these like really stupid tasks, and like it's just pure comfort. It's just
Oh,
relaxing. It's low stakes. It's silly, and
yeah.
that's like my it's akin to Great British Bake Off for me. Those two shows just bring me
Yeah.
joy.
Do you have any suggestions? What should we be
Love
Yeah.
watching?
that.
What's yours?
Um, okay, so the second half of season 4 of Outer Banks just came out.
Mhm.
And that Outer Banks is one of my favorite shows. I could there are like several that I am just so obsessed with. So there's Outer Banks, and then there's another which is on Netflix, and then there's another Netflix show called The Lincoln Lawyer.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
that also a few months ago came out with a new season. Um, I just started watching Scandal, which I know I'm late to that, but it's so good.
Noted. That's going to be my next binge, I think.
Yeah.
Scandal.
Yeah. It's I had always wanted to watch it, and then finally I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it now. So I just love that show.
Yeah. My mom loved that show when it came out, so good to know. Always looking for something else to watch during dinner.
Be our
So,
band
Yeah.
watch.
yeah,
We can watch it on
Scandal.
tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Watch it on your phone.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend all three of those because they suck you in. So
Like I want to be absorbed fully
Yeah.
in like whatever
yeah.
I'm watching. It's escapism. It's fun.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Um so what genre of movie would your life story be told as?
I mean, I think a comedy. Like it could be a romantic comedy or
Think
just like a romantic. I think we could be rom-com stars. You
Yeah.
know, a buddy rom-com.
who do you want to play you?
Who do I want to play me? I have no idea. Um, young Melissa McCarthy or 80 Bryant. I think 80
Oh, 80
Bryant. I'd
Bryant
say
would be
80
cool.
Bryant would be like a perfect casting for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. What about you?
I have to think about it. I don't know. Maybe Timothy Chalamet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You both have
Yeah.
the you know. You look so much alike.
It's so
So
much alike.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a method actor, you
yeah,
know?
as are
Yeah.
you. That's right.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
If there's a way that we can make this happen, 80 Bryant, Timothy Chalamet as Grief Cat, like
Yeah.
it has to happen. Let's put it in the
Yeah.
universe.
Yes,
So
I would absolutely watch that movie.
yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Um, so is there a song that you are currently obsessed with?
So is this like one of our songs or just like a song in general?
Yeah, just a song in general.
Ooh. I go through so many phases. Like let me see what songs am I playing right now?
I've had I had a Charlie XCX summer. I was really into her album Brat, and I was just in the car on the way over here listening to Girl So Confusing featuring Lord. It's a great song. It's a great song about how tough it is to be a girl and to have friends and the dynamics of like, being jealous of a friend, but also being supportive of a friend, but also it's just hard to be a girl.
I love that. I also love, are those Oreo earrings
They are
or
Oreo earrings.
Hydrox? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just noticed that. Um, so for me, I think lately I've been listening to a lot of The Last Dinner Party. And so I would say like Sinner or The Feminine Urge are two that I've been playing around with. They're fun.
Oh,
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
I
So
love them. Yeah, I love those.
they're-
Um,
Ooh, wait,
so
wait, I have a question. I know you're the
yeah,
interviewer, but I have a quick question. I see you
yes.
have an Eras Tour poster behind you.
Yes.
Where did you see her show?
Um, I went with my family when she came to Denver.
Amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay.
I have not been to a Taylor Swift show yet. Someday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was our first time seeing her live. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so is there someone who without fail always makes you laugh?
There are definitely some folks. I mean, number one, I mean, Annie will always make me laugh. Um, but I feel like I should have a different answer for that.
Yeah, give
I gotta give a different answer.
branch out.
Branch out. You go first.
I love laughing with my husband. He's really funny. He's not the kind of person who would like go up on stage and tell jokes. But he's also kind of secretly a Griefcat muse. I feel like a lot of songs have come from us, riffing in the car or, talking about something on the couch and then a song idea comes up. Or like sometimes, Luisa and I will have an idea and I'll tell Grant what we're working on and he'll come up with a line or a direction that we go in and it's really nice. So he's an honorary grief cat in a lot of ways.
He really is.
Yeah.
I almost answered Grant for someone that like without fail will make me laugh because he's just hilarious and ridiculous
He is
and
fun.
wonderful. And then I would also say my best friend from elementary school. So we're still really close and we talk all the time. And she just makes me like howl. I can't stop laughing. She's great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Y-
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got a lot of good people in our lives that make us laugh. Everyone's hilarious.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, laughter is the best. There's nothing better. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
truly.
I've learned I was married previously to somebody who genuinely like didn't think I was funny, even though I'm literally a professional comedian. Um, and the difference of, being with somebody who doesn't think you're funny and being with somebody who does think you're funny, but who also can yes and you can go
Yeah.
back and forth with you. It's
Yeah.
it's like night and day. It makes life so much better. Laughter is the best, especially if you're going through something like I don't know, when something hard happens and you can process those emotions with a little bit of humor. It's
Yeah.
just the best.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
also a portion of our songwriting. It's just like us processing the world around us and like all of our traumas and just
Yeah.
making it
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, my family and I have such a warped sense of humor with everything we've gone through where like you just have to laugh. You have to find something funny in like every situation. So we have such a dark sense of humor. And so it's it's very entertaining.
I love that you have that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Um, so what show or movie do you find yourself quoting more often than you'd like?
More often than you'd like. Um, a little obscure, but there is a musical called 1776. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a musical about like the founding fathers and it came out in the 70s and it's really campy and dumb and but also like kind of heartwarming. I don't know. If I'm trying to remember that like I love my country. It's a nice comfort watch because it's also very silly, but it's also very serious. I don't know. I quote it a lot though. I grew up watching it like every 4th of July and it's kind of an obscure musical. And when I found out that my husband also, I think I said like on one of my first phone calls with my husband, I said a quote from that musical and he followed up with like the next line in the musical and I'm like nobody knows this. How did you know that song? And he was like, oh, well, my family used to watch it.
It's meant to
And
be.
yeah, it brought us together. So even though I wish I didn't quote it as much as I do, I'm glad I have because it lets me know who my people are.
And I just
Yeah.
found out that I'm not actually one of Annie's people
Yeah.
because I have never seen it. So the band is actually breaking up right now. This is
Yeah.
our last,
It's over.
our last call. I don't know what I quote a lot. I mean, I'd probably say like I don't know, the first thing that jumped into my head was probably Titanic. Because there's a line that says it'll all be over soon, and I apply that to anything that I'm doing if I don't want to do it. It'll all be over soon.
Sad.
A lot of peace, honestly.
I love
Love
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, my brain is just like filled with show and movie quotes. Just like to throw out whenever. So
I also say SpongeBob also comes up a lot in my brain. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Classic. Are there any shows or movies that you quote a lot?
Um, I quote Will and Grace and
Oh,
Friends all the time. Um, and then I think those are the two. Oh, and the show Psych. I
oh,
those are yeah, the
yeah,
three that I quote like all the time.
those are good ones.
those are good ones.
Excellent
Yeah.
choices.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, my best friend doesn't he watches a ton of movies but not a ton of shows. So I have quoted Will and Grace to him several times and he never gets it. So then I'm like, you have to watch this show. Um I'm like, then you will realize I'm being funny. You have to watch it to realize that.
I love that. I should start forcing media on people more often. I do force
Yeah.
a lot of YouTube videos on people. It's kind of a problem, and songs. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I tell him that all the time that he has to watch it and it hasn't happened yet. So,
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. It'll
yes.
happen.
Yeah. Um, so I have one more question for you guys. So I love inspiring and motivational quotes, and this week my favorite quotation is by Sophia Loren, and it's beauty is how you feel inside, and it reflects in your eyes. It is not something physical. Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
It'll all be over soon. Just kidding. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
My my favorite quote of all time is a Walt Whitman quote that says, "Do I contradict myself? Very well, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." And I think in a world that likes to make everything very black and white, uh, I think most people should be more accepting of the fact that we all operate more in a gray space. And I like one of my biggest contradictions is that I'm in this silly band that uses a lot of like toilet humor and sometimes cuss, or not really cuss, but like we're very
We're on the line.
we're
We walk a
very we're
line.
very irreverent. But I'm also like a very religious person, and so sometimes those two worlds you'd think cross over very much. So people who are religious are like very serious and sturdy, and people who operate in the comedy world want nothing to do with religion. And I think it's like, well, I do both, and I don't really have a problem with taking either of those worlds super seriously. So I think that, I mean, and that's just one example. I feel like there's a lot of things in my life that have been very uh, contradictory, and whereas some people would think that that's a problem, I think that is a good thing. It means that I have two eyes, that I get a full picture of the world. I'm not just looking out one eye or looking out the other.
I love that. I all I can really think of is that quote from Titanic. But I thought of another song lyric that It's kind of like cheesy, rhymey, but it meant a lot to me at really pivotal moments in my life where I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. And it's a song by Neil Hannon or the Divine Comedy. And the lyric is fate doesn't hang on a wrong or right choice. Fortune depends on the tone of your voice. And I know that's like a little cheesy and rhymey, but I remember many, many years ago, I moved out with my boyfriend at the time to Nevada from Washington, D.C. And I left a job that I loved, and I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. You know, cut a couple years later, I moved back. But it really brought me comfort that like in anything that I'm doing, I can make choices and just propel myself forward and it's gonna be fine. Like I'm gonna be fine and my life is gonna be what it is. And no matter what happens, no matter what I'm doing in my life, I'm gonna find a way to like squeeze the juice out of it and the zest and the joy wherever I can. So that's what that means to me.
I love those.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You said
Um,
that Sophia Loren quote was your quote of the week.
yes.
Where do you get your quotes from? We should
Um,
be
We need to do
inspired
that.
by more.
I mean, usually I find a bunch on Instagram and Pinterest. That's where I get most of them. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
I
source.
have I have a whole folder on my phone of quotes.
I love that. Yeah, we need to up our quote game.
Yeah.
We need to start inspiring each other more. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for joining me today. I have had the best time talking with you, so thank you.
Same. This has been so fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.